Hello, welcome to the FPL video. My name is Mo, and today what I'll be looking at is the premium choices that all us FPL managers are at the moment contemplating, thinking hard and actually losing our sleep over. So what's the main news? What are we looking at? What players are there to look at? So primarily, we looked at the start of the season, we were like, look, we've got this handful of premiums, we're going to look at them, we're going to choose our 2 or 3 and we're going to stick with them for the rest of the season. But boy, did this transfer window throw a curveball at us. We're now losing our sleep. We're thinking about who to pick. The selections are there. We can't pretty much afford all of them with our 100 million budget. So we have to think of a way where we can fit as many as we can in. And in addition, which one we're going to go for. So we're going to go through all that today. We're going to go through all the options that we have, the dilemmas we face, and what fixtures are coming up in the next 5 game weeks. So because if people are playing their wildcard, as managers at the moment, I'm going to be one of them who's going to play my wildcard. What are the bases of us making this decision? So we're going to look at everything. We're going to look at some fixtures, and we're going to look at what players you should be looking to target to bring in. We'll also look at some unforgotten heroes as well. So it's all tuned into this video, so stay tuned. Let's look at it all, and let's help you decide who you're going to be bringing in into your FPL teams. Whether you play that wild card or whether you don't, let's see how I can help you. But before we start off, if you like this video, give me a like, thumbs up, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button and join the FPL INKLING family. So let's start off. So I'm going to start off with the fixtures for the so-called big teams and how they rate in terms of their fixture difficulty. So I started off, it's not alphabetical, guys, just in case you see Arsenal at the top. So I've started off from the teams that I've seen who I think are, pretty much have premium players in there, who we can look to target and who we can look to bring in, okay? Now, from the top, we've got the easier fixtures over the next 5 game weeks. So 5 game weeks we're looking at in total. And what I've done here is basically accumulated the fixtures that are the easiest for the teams as they're listed, okay? So the green obviously highlights an easier game. The grey is a medium game, and red is a difficult game, all right? So that's the kind of overall outlook to the fixture difficulty. So we look at Arsenal. Look at the top there in terms of fixtures. I know they're at the bottom of the table and people aren't actually looking at them. We've got Liverpool there, followed by, in terms of some fixtures there. They've got 2 other promoted sides to play in, so maybe looking at their kind of premiums will be a good asset. You've got Spurs in there as well. They've got Chelsea and Arsenal in there. Chelsea, they'll be playing Aston Villa at home, Tottenham away and Man City at home. But after that, you can see from game week 7, Southampton home, Brentford away. That will continue on to game week 11. All right, so it's going to be some good fixtures for us to target. We look at Leicester City, so they've got Man City in game week 4, so a lot of people might be put off by, Leicester City players for that game week, but after that, they're not too bad until they get to the Manchester United game in game week 8, with Brighton away, Burnley at home, and Crystal Palace away. We've got Manchester City who are playing Leicester, so are we kind of overlooking these guys? Are we still thinking about the Pep Roulette? We're kind of getting an understanding of how he's playing this season in terms of Ferran Torres and, Jack Grealish. They've got Southampton, Chelsea, Liverpool and Burnley at home in game week 8. Manchester United obviously with a blockbuster signing as well, along with Lukaku going to Chelsea and Manchester United getting Ronaldo. We've got Newcastle at home, West Ham away, who've been flying this season, Aston Villa at home, Everton at home, and then Leicester away. So you can see the difficulty in fixtures there right at the bottom, how difficult they do get based on the fixture difficulty for FPL rating. So these are the fixtures that we have, and we're going to be establishing which premiums to pick. So what's the biggest debate going on in the FPL community, manager-wise at the moment, is which premiums to pick. So when we started the season, we were kind of like, is it going to be Kane? Is it going to be Salah? Is it going to be Bruno? Are we going to try getting Son in there with Trent? These were the kind of big premiums we were looking at. But what's happened is we've got signings such as Ronaldo and Lukaku that have come into this game. And now we're thinking, because we can't just set and forget. So on previous seasons, one of the things I used to always recommend to FPL managers is, with your premiums, once you select them, you don't actually need to really tinker with them much, because they will give you a reward, a bit of patience with them. They'll perform in the big games, and you can kind of relax in terms of, pick and forget them, select them, don't worry about them, along with your 4.5 million goalkeeper and your bench. You don't need to worry about your premiums. But this season, what we do have is we have a conundrum, a dilemma, an absolute, tough decision to make in certain game weeks. So we can't just sit there and just have them in there for the rest of the season. We will have to look at their fixtures, we will have to look at their form, and we have to look at how the team is playing overall in terms of what we can maximise in terms of our FPL return. So what I'm going to look at first is some possible combinations, what you can look at, how you can draft it into your teams, and how that will overall shape your team for the next coming game weeks. All right. So the first kind of trio that I've looked at. Now, this is something that I'm focusing on for my wildcard. I haven't overall decided my overall team yet, but these are the three main big hitter premiums that I'm looking at. So I've gone for Trent in defence as well. Now, Trent Alexander-Arnold, owned by around 33% of managers, and rightfully so. He's a high scoring defender in the game at the moment. He played phenomenally against Chelsea as well. He looks to get forward. The guy puts balls in. The guy, likes to attack. He likes to take shots. He likes to whip in a ball to get an assist as well. Takes penalties in terms of not penalties, set pieces such as free kicks and corners as well. So what does that mean for us as FPL managers? So we can kind of pick and set and forget him. They've got some really good fixtures coming up, as I mentioned. So they were in the top 2 after Arsenal in terms of fixtures as well. Now, not many people are looking at Arsenal assets, but we'll get onto Arsenal a bit more later on in terms of who you could potentially look at and who we could look to bring into our squad. So Trent, for me, is someone that I'm focusing on. I kind of overlooked him at the start of the season, but I've looked at him closely for the first 3 games, and I must say he's caught my eye. He's definitely going to be coming into my squad, okay? So I'm thinking in the sense of, a 7.5 million midfielder, or Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'm tilting more towards Trent to really maximise my returns of those funds that I'm investing within him. Mo Salah, obviously, there are plenty of managers at the moment that are kind of taking him out of their squad. I just don't understand how, with the fixtures that are coming up and the form that he's shown. He didn't play really well against Chelsea, but the guy got a penalty and he got a double-digit return in 10 points as well. So it shows that even in the games that he doesn't perform, and from past seasons, he's always got more than 225 points in a season, I think, in the last 4 seasons. Why not choose him? Why not pick him? He's not going to get rotated. He's always going to be there or thereabouts to get the goals. And, with the fixtures coming up, obviously Firmino being injured, we're not sure what the extent of his injury is or how long he's going to be out for. But one thing that we can say for sure is he's on penalties. He's the most prolific goal scorer and assist maker in the last X number of seasons. Why are we going to overlook him now, considering he's had a decent start to the season? So he's in my watch at the moment. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the captain's armband on him against Leeds or not. I'm tilting towards Ronaldo, but he is in my plans for now. So that's why I've gone for these 3 originally, because these are my potential premiums, for example, that I'm looking at to bring into my squad. And obviously, Mr. Blockbuster, Cristiano Ronaldo himself, 12.5 million released in the game. I would have still brought him if he was 13 mil. It's just so hard to overlook him. Yes, I went to Lukaku in the last game week. I had to go for him because I wasn't aware that Ronaldo was coming back to the Premier League. But now that he is back, what we can see is, there's going to be attack from Manchester United. I think he'll take penalties off Bruno. I don't think it's going to be possible that he's not going to take the penalties. He's going to play the number 9 role. He's not the winger anymore. United always struggled with goals. I think he'll get at least 20 goals with a couple of assists in there as well. And he can really uplift the team and put away those chances that United have previously not taken in the last couple of seasons. So he might be the difference for them challenging for the title, or actually, really being in the race. So challenging for the title last season, losing by about nearly 15 to 20 points, wasn't really a challenge. This season, he can narrow that gap, and I think he'll be a real asset in the FPL community and your team if you do decide to get him into your squad. Now, there are some people who are looking at this option as well. So looking at the 3 of Salah, Kane and Ronaldo. Now, Kane, he's had a price drop twice. So he's gone down from 12.5 to 12.4 and then 12.4 to 12.3. So he's actually lost 0.2 mil in price as well. So you can actually might be able to fit him in a bit more easier. He's not very highly owned, so it's about the 10% manager mark at the moment. So it might be a really good differential. And as I showed you with the fixtures as well, in terms of Spurs, we can look, we've got Crystal Palace away, so that might be a really good game for him to, kind of get back into scoring form. But then we look at Chelsea home and Arsenal away, so some good difficult fixtures there, and some recent fixtures at the end, so where he has some decent run in terms of Aston Villa at home and Newcastle away. But if you look at, for example, Ronaldo, Newcastle, he can ease in at home. Then they got West Ham, Aston Villa. I can see him scoring in those games that are listed there. They are difficult, but not impossible for him to score. In terms of Lukaku, for example, Aston Villa at home, he might be a common or favourite captain option for that game week, along with Kane. But then you look at someone like him who's facing as a team, Tottenham and Man City. Now, that's not to say they can't score, or he can't score against those teams. But then they have a really nice run from game week 7 onwards. So a lot of people are at the moment going for Ronaldo and Salah, looking to bring Lukaku in. Actually, if they still got him, keep him in for game week 4, transfer him out and bring him back in for game week 7. I don't think his price will be affected that much. So it's worth, just tinkering with your squad, thinking ahead and seeing how you can actually maximize your returns from these specific players. Now, in terms of the wild card, there's no right or wrong time for it, to be fair, because some people are thinking it in 2 different ways. So, for example, like myself, I'm looking to play a wild card now. If I need to take any hits in the future or build up some transfers and do those 2 transfers in a game week to get a premium swap, that can be done. Or if you don't even need 2 transfers, you might just need 1. You can just go from Lukaku to Ronaldo or vice versa, Ronaldo back to Lukaku or Salah for Ronaldo, because they're the same price at the moment in the FPL game. But then you could actually just wait for your wildcard, take the hits now and play the wildcard later. There's no kind of like right or wrong answer in this, but you're actually doing the same thing. So why not take the wildcard option now and make those bigger chances and hits and kind of rejig your team, and then look to take the hits as you go along, because there will be price rises, there will be price decreases. It's easier to manage then rather than just saving it for a wild card, because you might have a template now, but because of price changes, that might go out the window because you might not be able to afford that specific team again in 3 or 4 weeks' time when there have been changes in prices for certain players. So keep that in mind. There might be worth just taking a hit now in terms of wild card and then taking hits later on. Or if you want to take a bit of a steady game and play it in game week 7 because of the fixture swings, that's entirely your choice, and it's no right or wrong way for that, guys. That's just for you to decide how you want to play it. Will you be patient enough to hold it that long, or will you be someone like me who's literally so tempted, almost activated, and I will be submitting my wild card during this international game week? People could also, look at an option to have a frontline premium. So it doesn't mean you have to always have someone in the midfield that's a premium. It doesn't mean you have to have Trent or Robertson, for example, as a premium defenders. Why not do it across your front line? Now, there are some pros for this and there's some cons for this as well. Now, I've listed 3 strikers here who can average easily 20 goals in a season. That's 60 goals for you nailed on there. But what sacrifices do you need to make to the rest of your team for you to accomplish this? Will you be compromising on your midfield? Will you be having to, put in players like, Dallas or Demarai Gray around the 5.5 mil mark? Or will you have to go lower to someone like a Bissouma or a Gilmore? That might be, something like a cost-benefit analysis that you have to work out. For me personally, for a long season, I can't play in my team. I can have them on my bench because I know they're a good option to come on if I don't have a player that plays that week and they can replace them. But playing them week in, week out, I just don't think it's going to suit my long-term plan, and I'm just going to pretty much get restless in a couple of game weeks once it doesn't go right. But there's no right or wrong answer, guys. You can actually go for someone like a Mason Mount, Grealish, for example, or Greenwood, Jota, because we've all gone, premium-wise, we've gone Salah and Bruno. They've done well from game week 1, but actually Jota and Greenwood haven't done too badly. And if you combine them together, they work out to be like £10 million less than Salah and Bruno. But that's not what I'm saying is you should discard them. I can't have for me, before this transfers took place, I couldn't have my team without Bruno and Salah. But now I've kind of moved a bit away from Bruno because of Ronaldo's influence and his penalties and stuff. Is 12 million really worth it? I'm thinking a bit more along the lines of Mane and Bruno. Are they in the same boat now? Are we now thinking along the same lines for them? So the ownership I will expect for Bruno to change. It already has. So he's gone from around, nearly 60% ownership to now just under 50%. So managers are thinking, managers are taking him out. And is it time to, forget Bruno for a while, see how he plays, and then bring him in if he gets some good form and minutes under his belts, which he'll get minutes for sure. But will he go deeper with Pogba further back because there's Ronaldo up front? We just need to give it some time and have a look. So personally, I would not play these 3 and, have a basic squad elsewhere. For me, it's too much money up front, and I always like to captain a midfielder because you always have that, clean sheet bonus for the extra point, which can be 2 points as well. But with Ronaldo in there, I'm looking for bonus points, and that's the kind of, decision I need to make as who I want to put the armband on. A lot of people are talking about at the moment, will Ronaldo be fit for the first game against Newcastle? I think he will. He's decided not to play the second game for Portugal. It's at home against Newcastle. He wants an ovation / intro, like an introduction back into United. He doesn't want to be a substitute. He wants to be on the team sheet, and he wants to really make a mark. And I can see him scoring against Newcastle's defence, who has been quite, shaky to start off this season, but we'll have to wait and see what we're going to be getting from there. Now, There's also an option where people can go for the big four. So I've talked about getting the big three strikers in, but I have seen some drafts at the moment online, and I've had a play around myself. Now, if I was to put all four of these, it's possible, of course it is. But what does that mean for the rest of your 7 players that you have in your squad? It goes very, very thin. You might have to literally play defenders who are 4 million. You might have to go for a whole backline, which is 4 million, 4.5 mil. In midfield, you might have to, resort to someone like a Damari Gray and Dallas, for example, or someone like Ismail Sarr. But over long term, is that something you really want to go down just to have these 4 in? It kind of really disjoints the balance of your squad. But for me, I've done this in the past over a couple of seasons ago where I thought, let's try it this way. And it looks good when it comes off in one game week, but there will be game weeks where this will not go well. And, if you don't have the, backup on your other squad or the depth, it can be very, very difficult in terms of you getting a good overall score for that game week. So there's no, I'm not saying these guys all won't perform in every single week or they will perform every single week, but you don't really want to disjoint your team balance. But for all, money, if that's the way you want to play and you want to go for all 4 of them, you sure can do. But for me, it's just far too much investment in this part of a team or these 4 players and not having the spread of funds across the other players in itself. Now, moving on to Forgotten Heroes. So I've done a slide on premiums that we've forgotten, I think, or we're not focusing on, or, we're overlooking as the season has gone along. So I'm going to go through a bit of stats about these guys. Are these premiums that we should consider? Have we seen enough of them to consider bringing them into our squads? That's a real question that you need to answer, and that's something that you can feel for yourself. For me, none of these 6 players are in my squad at the moment, even in my wildcard. Am I overlooking them? Most certainly. Will they perform during the season? Of course they will. These guys are phenomenal players. They've proved it in the past, in the Premier League, outside the Premier League, and they will come good. But it's just about timing, maybe getting them in at the right time or for the right fixture. So, for example, doubling up on Mane and Salah for the Brentford game or the Watford game might be a good idea. For Manchester United, Bruno and Ronaldo might be a good shout for Newcastle. Again, there's a lot of options we can look at and we can, look into making into our teams based on a week-by-week basis. This might be a season where we might not carry over 2 transfers as regularly. It might be a week-on-week transfer change. Now, in FPL terms, that can be quite risky because sometimes being patient and the perseverance will pay off. But, if you constantly change, you might miss the game weeks that person actually scores, and then you think, oh my God, I should get them back in, and you're just kind of chasing it all the way through. So set and forget, I still believe is an option, but we need to be a bit more open to the idea of changing our premiums along the line. So let's go through a few background stats about these guys on screen as well. So Raheem Sterling, so from last season, 154 points. He got 10 goals and 9 assists. So this season so far, he's on 9 points with 1 goal. That was on a substitute appearance. And he's got 2.2% of ownership, so quite low. 10.9 million. He's gone down in price from 11. He's had a price drop. Again, once he gets the minutes and he starts scoring, this guy is absolutely lethal. He's performed very well previous to last season with hitting over 200 points a couple of seasons in a row. This guy's played well for England. He scored for England in this international break as well. So it's quite frustrating. If he was getting general minutes for Man City, I know he'll score and get returns. So I wish he was, and then I definitely would be considering Sterling because he was pretty much a must pick for me a couple of seasons ago. Next on the list is Sadio Mane. Now this guy is really infuriating and frustrating. I think he's priced too high. He was priced at 12 mil at the start of the season. Now I think 10.5, 11 mil is a bit too high, but 10.5 would have been fair. And then I definitely would have had him into my squad because Mane, Salah and Jota with Firmino, they're very attacking and you're getting returns. He's had a price drop to 11.9. Last season, 176 points, 11 goals and 11 assists respectively. Not as great as the season before for him as well, just like Sterling. Now, they've got some really good fixtures coming up. As you know, they were on the top in terms of fixture difficulty. So I can show you here. They've got Leeds away, Crystal Palace, Brentford, and Watford in game week 8. Yes, they play Man City as well. But you can see, in terms of Sadio Mane, why can't he score? Why can't he assist? And why can't he get any good returns? Again, do you really want to invest that much money into a player who hasn't started the season as well? Yes, he's got a goal and an assist and 16 points. But I expect higher from him in terms of the games he has played. He's owned by 2.9% of managers. Again, being overlooked at the moment. If he hits form, then there's no reason why we can't bring him in to maximise our points return for these fixtures that he does have coming along. Next is Kevin De Bruyne. Boy, have we missed him so far. Now, there's no return date for his ankle injury, even on the FPL website. But last season, he got 141 points, much lower than what we expect from him. He got 6 goals and 12 assists. So far, he's only got 1 point because he's only played 11 minutes, 1.3% ownership. So, again, he will get back into that squad. He will be on penalties, I think. And, Torres and him might share the minutes and he will go back up, maybe play the number 9 role. So it can be quite interesting to see how he fares. So let's just wait and see when he's back, guys. And he might be someone I might look to bring in, but he's definitely a forgotten hero. But if he wasn't injured, I'm sure his ownership will be much higher than what it is right now. Next is Jamie Vardy. So it's not really a forgotten hero, to be fair. He's got 13.5% ownership. So far, 2 goals and 1 assist with 19 points respectively. Last season, he got 187 points, 15 goals and 14 assists. Despite having a real, kind of slow end to the season, didn't really do that well with Iheanacho kind of taking the limelight. He started well, looks hungry. I thought with Daka signing and Iheanacho's form, he might be affected in terms of minutes. Not at all. He's still on penalties and, he's hungry for success. This guy, he's an all-time great for me in the Premier League. And, at 10.5 mil at the moment, he's not at a price rise yet. Not a bad shout if you're looking to spread your funds, all right? Next is Son. What can you say about Son? Absolute sensation. I kind of got excited when he took the first penalty in the first game week, but Dele Alli took the one against Wolves. So that kind of put me off Son a bit. 10.5% ownership. He's 10.1 mil, so he's gone up in price, guys, at the moment. 228 points last season, 17 goals, 11 assists, which was brilliant. His best season by a country mile, and he played more minutes last season as well. So far, 2 goals for 23 points, not a bad start. Is he in my plans at the moment? Pretty much was, but I've kind of discarded him a bit more since Ronaldo's return. So I'm not going for Son just yet. But if you look at the fixtures for Spurs, they're not too bad. Barring the Chelsea and Arsenal game, they've got Crystal Palace away, Aston Villa at home, and Newcastle at home as well. So we can definitely look at some goals or some returns for him because he takes set pieces such as free kicks, corners, and he always likes to break on the counter attack as well. Last but not least is my favourite, and it's a shame to see what's happening to him, is Bruno. So Bruno's gone down to 49.2% of ownership, so under 50% now, pretty much because of Ronaldo, I guess, and people changing their wildcards. 23 points so far this season, so not a bad start, but he's blanked in the last 2 game weeks. He's got 3 goals. So far 12 mil. He's gone down in price as well, so he went up to 12.1. Last season's highest point scorer, 244 points, 18 goals and 14 assists. He might not be the Penandes, as the people call him now, which I absolutely hate. He's more than just a penalty taker. But will it take away, his general play? He might be getting more assists. Are we overlooking him? I think we are, but I want to see a bit more how he interlinks with Ronaldo. Yes, they didn't have the best of Euros, but they're 2 incredible players. This is Manchester United at the end of the day. They can be the next, kind of like the Kevin De Bruyne / Aguero. For me, the partnership that they had, let's just wait and see. But I think we might be overlooking him a bit too soon. But for me, guys, if I was to show you or tell you who I'm looking at the moment, these are the 3 premiums that I'm going for. I might be looking at, Jota as well because of Firmino's injury. And with the fixtures that Liverpool have coming up, it just looks too good to miss out on their attacking returns potentially. But generally, we looked at Arsenal as well. I haven't really talked about Arsenal. Aubameyang, is that someone you're looking at? Arsenal haven't scored so far this season. Maybe Norwich might be something that might change them. Yes, they scored 6 goals in the League Cup against West Brom B squad. But, that was the League Cup. And that game against Norwich is going to be huge. He's coming in over 10 mil or 10 mil in price. It's a bit expensive, but we'll have to wait and see. But barring the Tottenham game, they have some really fruitful fixtures. So he might be a forgotten hero. You just never know. But these are so many premium picks we can look at. And these are the fixtures that we really need to go by in the terms of the next 5 game weeks. What fixtures I'm targeting are Liverpool. What also I'm targeting are the Manchester United games against Newcastle, Villa. And what I'll also be looking at is potentially bringing in some Chelsea defenders, or maybe like a Havertz or someone from game week 7 onwards. Maybe even Lukaku. It just depends on how teams fare. But I just can't see myself getting rid of, for now, Trent, Salah, or Ronaldo, and I don't really want to, sacrifice the strength of my remaining squad by bulking up on Lukaku and Ronaldo up front. But that's just my picks at the moment. Again, it will change. Keep these fixtures in mind. Let me know what your thoughts are. Are these the players you're looking at the moment? Have I simplified it a bit more for you? Let me know. Give me a comment in the comments box. Join the FPL INKLING League with the code on there, guys. Let me know how this video is done. Hit that like button, and for sure, hit that subscribe button as well. Help us get to that 1K subscribers mark. I want to thank you all for watching once again. Stay tuned for some more content before Game Week 4. I will be coming back with some more information and how I can make sure you guys get your squads ready before the deadline, which is just over a week away, guys. So till then, I want you to take care, and I'll see you soon.